Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Creatives podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Simone Campbell.
And I am one of your co-hosts, Tevin Brown. And today I got to start the episode with a question. Honestly, what is your favorite action scene? Who is your favorite action actor? And genuinely, do you realize that 9 times out of 10, that actor's not actually doing the action? Mm-mm. Today, we have the stunt coordinator and manager of Rising Star Stunt Team, along with 2 of his stunt team members. We have Gary Choi, Tony Nelson, and Jeremy Rio Nason. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show today.
No, thank you for having us. It was such a great pleasure.
Thank you. So I guess I'll actually start with a question.
Go
because
for it.
There was something that I saw on one of your credits that caught my eye. And it actually got me really excited because Bang Bang Betty 1 and 2.
Yep.
I feel like it's a bit safer to talk about those because, for the record, everybody, 23 upcoming projects that you're not allowed to know about yet.
Yep. All.
So I want to try and play with some of the safe ones with that one because Emily, one of the main actresses, I've actually worked with her a lot on several different projects.
I love her.
She's an absolute angel. So I guess playing into that, what goes into your mind when it comes to stunt coordinating, action scenes?
Must make main hero look good. That's the first one. Do a script breakdown and then try to make it make sense from the script. Because a lot of times what's written sounds really good in your head. Mm-hmm. There's no physical way you can do it. Or it just can't happen. There was a choreography scene where someone blocks a punch, but they're like as close as me as him, but they want to throw a kick where it hits him in the chin. I'm like, how are you physically going to move?
Make it
So yeah, but with Emily, it was actually a lot easier because the director, Alex Huang, gave us so much freedom and a lot of liberties to play with. Quite literally in the script, he wrote, "They fight." Nice. I was like, "That's it?" He's like, "Have fun, Gary. I don't care." I'm like, "Oh,
perfect
okay."
direction too.
That was great. So it was really more or less at that point just, seeing what Emily could do, what she's comfortable with, how much time she could dedicate to training. The first one, she was paired off with one of our other stunt guys, Dan Moen. Mm-hmm. That guy is 6'7". You already know how tall Emily is. She's not very tall. So we're talking she's like this. So there's a really cool fight scene where she does a Black Widow takedown where she goes running up, hits him with that one. But instead of her accomplishing it, because we see it in every movie, we actually had Dan just pick her up and just slam her to the ground. We're like, no, that's not going to work. So we just did a little surprise, and she took it like a champ.
Nice.
Then the second one, oh man, that was probably the most action intensive one of the 2. She had, we had your main first fight, almost 7 fights. So she did everything on her own, from start to finish. No stunt doubles, no nothings. She handled all the weapons on her own, learned to clear weapons, shoot. Then got into the nitty gritty with every one of us. So yeah.
Snaps.
Trooper.
And then explosions. There was so many explosions.
Oh my goodness.
So, I think that begs the question. Bring us into the world of being a stunt and all of the things that you do. What makes you wake up every morning and be like, I'm ready to jump out of this building or beat up? What's it like?
That's these guys, that one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I get excited about it. There's a couple big falls, big stuff that I'm gearing up to do. And I'm just excited to perform it. It's all, for me, it's about the trying to get is the illusion of violence, of danger, but everything's super calculated. So, if I have a fall, I'm gonna be training prerequisites for if I get enough time, 2 months leading up into it, and then, I'll be training the actual fall on location. That's why it's always nice to have a rehearsal session before you go in. Sometimes you don't get that. Sometimes they just show you what you got.
They're go.
No, those are the worst ones.
Mm-hmm. So it's about taking the responsibility on yourself to handle, I'd say as a stunt performer, handling your own safety and handling the safety of the people you're working with. But still trying to create that energy, that illusion of danger, and be like adaptable, you know, as things change, as, you know, we don't have time for this, or we only have one take on this, you know, or sometimes a fall is like really intense and you can only do like 3 takes of it. So, yeah, just that stuff. I get really excited about it. It's like a challenge. It's like a little
definitely.
game. Yeah. So.
What about you, Jeremy?
Well, it's fun. I mean, like, when you're a kid, you want to be a superhero, but then, you know, most people, you grow up and it's like, you can't do that. But then you do action in movies and all of a sudden you can, right? Like, you learn how to do that, if you can do the acting with it. Because something a lot of people don't really realize about stunt performers, you do have to act through the role too. You're not just there to, you know, take a hit and fall. You gotta sell it, right? So then, like, all the things you see in movies, superheroes, right? All these cool characters, that's basically what we're doing. And it definitely makes it easier to tackle the day knowing that it is safe. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Definitely.
I love that. So how did you guys kind of get into this world? Like, what was your guys' kind of startup in stunts?
You want to go first on that one?
Sure, I'll go first. I've been doing martial arts since I was 5 years old, right? And I've done a few different styles, right? And just working through those and being a big fan of action on camera. What I would always do in my living room is I'm watching something on like Netflix or a streaming service, and I'll see a fight scene, I'll pause it, I'll bring it back a couple moves, and then I'll teach myself that to the best of my ability, and then I'll just go through the entire fight scene until I have it down.
You've been a stunt performer your whole life.
I've wanted to, yeah. Yeah, and then it's like, you know, I tried working a few normal people jobs, not for me at all. And then, you know, I knew this was something I could do, so I moved out here to a place where I could do it. And yeah, for me, it's mostly the fight scenes that I kind of try to tackle, but I try to learn the other aspects too. I can't flip around like this guy, but, you know, it's just, ever since I was a kid, I've kind of wanted to do this, and then figured out, might as well try. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to hear from you, because I know that you had to be like watching movies and like recreating it.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of like you see like what was it in Creed when he's like fighting like you know his dad like in Rocky's position. He's like using the moves like along with the tape.
Yeah.
I kind of did the same thing, but for circus, I'd say it's a little you know obscure. But when I was a kid, I was in a youth circus, and it was basically because I just liked doing backflips, and the gymnastics team was they wanted to hire me they wanted to have me on the team, and it started getting like into competitive gymnastics, so like couldn't do balance beam anymore, couldn't do uneven bars anymore, like my floor routine didn't have music on it, so I kind of got boxed in with that.
Yeah.
So with circus, I could kind of expand sort of my imagination a little bit, and that's why I like doing fight scenes of the movie so much and flips, because you know, as long as you have some good people behind you, you can make some cool stuff happen. So went from the circus, did my first stunt performance was a live show for the Ohio Renaissance Festival. And from there, I just fell in love with the choreo aspect of it. So that's where I come from. Yeah.
I started training at 7 years old for Kung Fu. And then by the time I was 11, my teacher went, okay, time for you to go to work, and put me on the set.
You're like, go.
More or less. I mean, that's, you
Have
know.
fun.
So then it was just me working, you know, anytime I was training, I was working on sets. And this is primarily in Hong Kong, so whole different rule sets than here. You know, a lot more physical, a lot more martial art oriented. Then I sort of took a weird like hiatus, and I was just, you know, here in the US, I was just teaching Kung Fu. I had my own studio. And then one of my students, he was trying to get into acting. He was trying to break into, and he was like, hey, you know stunts? I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, can you teach me something? Like, at first I'm like, no, just get back to training. Just get back to work. But he just was so insistent. Like, just would not. Just would not. I'm like, fine. I'm going to show you a little bit. It'll help you. We're done.
Yeah.
Next thing, here I am.
I guess that's really kind of a testament. Like, what was that journey like necessarily going from that point where it was kind of the click, where the student kind of like had you teach them some stunts and then kind of getting back into that stunt world to now being the manager of your own stunt team?
It's a jump.
It's, it's a job. I had, like I said, I had done a lot of stunt work and been a part of a team before in Hong Kong. So I had an idea. And when I tried to do that here in the beginning for the US, it was a little scary. It was really daunting because I really had no direction. So I more or less called up a whole bunch of my old friends that you actually might recognize, like Mike Chat. He's a former Power Ranger from Lightspeed Rescue, creator of XMA, so like he has like Taylor Lautner and all them. So, I was talking to him. He helped point me in the right direction. Johnny Bosch, Mighty Morphin Black Power Ranger.
Yeah.
Kisu Stars from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So they sort of helped me with more like understanding how to do things in America versus in Asia, which, I was like, okay, I want this. And part of me realized, I liked how they did things in Asia. I liked that close-knit team, more family-oriented style. So I decided to just run with it.
Definitely. So I'm curious, kind of zooming in a little bit, what is the creative process like for you behind the scenes, visualizing, the choreography, and I think, that intersection between athletics and the arts?
I have to get to know them. That's the first thing. So, like, it's different for everyone, but for me, I like to know what everyone's capable of so that I can start creating it from there. Like with Jeremy, I know he can do complex fight sequences, so I'll always cater closer to that. Higher number of body counts, hits, the complexity of it, to make it really polished. With Tony, again, flips, but not only flips, but I can also push him to do team style things. So like we have another team member out in Vegas. He does something called a 3/4 turn, where he will run up, flip in the air, and just look like he got smashed in the face. But that one we're playing on the illusion of distance. So if we're looking at the camera, there's about this much distance. But when you flip it, it looks like he's right on top of each other. With Tony, I can actually get him to do it where I'm right on top of him with the hit. So he's actually moving with us. So it's me, because I know these guys, I know their skill level, and because we're training, it allows me to create these things without me going, can we? Yes, no, maybe. It's be like, no, I know you can do that. Let's add this. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. But at the same time, you can ask these guys. I think I like to keep it open-ended so the guys can have their own interpretations and their own little, their flair, because it's always a collaborative. We're always working together as a team.
Yep.
So it's not just the me show. It's very much them.
Nice. Awesome. Do you guys have any kind of least favorite stunts that you kind of get
That's
asked
a good
to
question.
Least favorites.
He's like taking off my shirt.
He really wants to know about that.
It happens. It happens every
For
time.
scientific purposes.
Scientific purposes.
Science.
Yeah. Nope. First time on stage for theater. First time in a movie. Had to do a fight scene shirtless. Every time. It just happens.
It has to.
I would have said that's my least favorite, though. My least favorite has been taking a very simple fall from taking a hit from somebody coming up behind me, and for whatever reason, I couldn't get it. It was a very simple fall, and that kind of messed with me mentally for a bit, right? Because I had this shirtless fight scene later on planned, right? And I just had to do the simple fall, but I couldn't get it for whatever reason. So for days I was like, I don't know if I can do this fight if I can't even do the most basic fall. And then I do the fight fine. At least I think it was fine.
Oh, it was great.
Okay. It was good. It was great. But for whatever reason, just like sometimes the really simple stuff, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. Like whatever that fall was, that's been my least favorite. Just not being able to do a simple fall, something that's like baseline, not being able to get that.
I would say
it's frustrating.
It was difficult. The setup that he had was kind of like, and that's the hard part about making about doing the stunts practically is sometimes there's like a wall there and you like can't fit a mat where you want it, or they can't frame out a mat, so you gotta do some camera trick.
Well, don't forget, there's also the actor issue. It's just because you plan it that way, or even have the issue like you have, the actor now has their own interpretation of how they have to move, or the speed, or the cadence, or the inconsistency of it, or even how they're swinging, or if they arc their punch or not. So there's a lot.
And when there's one move, it's like that's the only part that the audience notices. There's nothing to cover it up.
Yeah.
So it shows like right there.
Yeah.
Any mistake that you could make will show up, pretty prominently.
Camera's watching.
Whereas, if you have 5 moves, then one could be off, but it's followed by another punch, and then that one reads, and it's like
Right.
you can kind of cover it up a little bit, like in real time.
That is a good point. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah. So it's difficult. I would agree. Doing the single move stuff can often be pretty challenging, especially in fight sequences.
Stakes feel high.
Yeah. So.
Okay, well that, I have to ask the opposite question. What's been your favorite stunt that you guys have done?
Oh, there's so many.
And
so many fun
coordinated.
ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
He's like, this one specific punch, exactly 3.2 years ago.
There's so many. I guess I don't really have a favorite or even a worst. There's the memorable ones.
Yeah.
Bang Bang Betty 2. We did one, so we filmed it out of sequence. So this fight was one of the last fights we did. It was like the martini shot for the entire set. But it's like one of the very first fights she does in the film. And we literally piecemealed that together in under 20 minutes because we were losing daylight. We were losing, everything was just stacked against us.
Yeah.
And, we, in this location changed like 3 times. So we didn't even know where we were, doing this fight. And there was nothing based on our description. So we were like, okay, we can't keep anything from the original choreo. We have to figure it out. And then it's like, okay, well, how are we going to film this? Well, the game plan's gone. So we had to, literally, we were just making up everything as it is and like chessing it together like day of.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun one. It was challenging, but it was a lot of fun.
I was gonna say that sounds incredibly stressful.
Yeah. He's like, but it was fun.
And then there's a few of the Star Wars fan film ones. That was just Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Star Wars.
No explanation needed.
I think there was one we did a force push and we yanked someone like threw them, I think, what was it, like 10, 15 feet back? And so we were supposed to force push them and we were supposed to land right in front of the camera, out of frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a little overzealous and whoop! So they're hanging above the camera. It looks great because you're like, yeah. That's like,
Awesome.
Wow. No one got hurt. It was just like, yeah, okay, then, went the wrong way, but you know what? We'll keep it. That was another one. Just, him being shirtless. That was a great fight.
Admittedly, that's my favorite, yeah. It was a fun scene, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good that, even your co-star wanted to take off his clothes.
Yeah.
Just because you started making him feel inadequate.
Hey, I just showed up. I don't know.
He's like, I just work here. I don't know.
I just work here, yeah.
There's been a few with you, Tony, that's been a lot of fun. Especially off of Seraphim.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, we did have one entrance at Seraphim. It was supposed to be something. What we choreographed it as like a cross. Like I run in, and it's supposed to back him up. That was the goal of the scene. And I think we initially just had a cross to back him up or something, which is like a punch that, crosses the face. We changed that into a charged up axe kick. So the kick comes up, the foot comes up, and then slams down like in front of his face as he backs up. And that was satisfying.
Cool.
Where the good ones are when you hear from Video Village, like they're like, oh, that one. Like, you know what I mean? You hear
Let's be honest, that was not what AJ said.
Oh, what did he say?
Oh, shit!
There you go. That sounds like it.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, the fun ones. I feel, for me, I enjoy like a strong entrance or a strong exit or something. and it's just so satisfying. There is one where, again, it was one of those one-hit things with many complicated parts. I was supposed to get hit by a baseball bat across the face, spit blood onto a car windshield, bounce off the car windshield, and go like fall over.
And then get shoved into the car.
And then get shoved into the... Yeah. All of that was one take, but it was one react, so it was like pretty difficult. Effectively, we did that in one take. The first take, the timing was off, and
that didn't count.
that's what I think. I didn't even like spit the blood on that one because everybody was like, no.
No one was ready for the shot. They called action. Everyone was like, do we
Everyone
go?
was like,
No?
is this happening? Yeah. But the second one was I do the action, spit the blood, go limp, get kicked into the car. Main actor gets into the car, and then I just hear from Video Village like, cut, perfect, and I'm like,
Nice.
Such a good feeling. Oh
You
my
want to know the
God.
other one really good one you did?
which one was that?
Orange Justice.
Oh yeah, the Saichi into the couch.
Yep.
That was
a
fun.
great
I
one.
love
That
that.
was
So Saichi is like a part where you like side flip. And we're discussing, okay, we want to have this character do one big hit, knock his character out, and it's like, well, where can he land? How we gonna? And we're just, they're all arguing, and I'm just poking around, just like, yeah, how about this couch?
Yeah.
At
At first, I was like, how am I gonna land on this without hitting my tailbone? And then I like said it a couple times, and then I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like it doesn't. Like it took all the impact away.
Yeah.
So initially I had to fall to the floor, which would have.
that's
You
what we were
know,
like,
you
and
would've felt
the
that.
space was actually tinier than here, so we were just like,
What do we
holy-
do?
And I'm just looking at the couch, I'm like,
Yeah, that'll work.
and at first the director, the actors, even the producers, like, no, that's really dangerous. He might get hurt. I'm like, no, he's good.
Couch, floor.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
he's good. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. And he does it once, and everyone went, we like that. We
Nice.
like that.
Oh, good feeling.
So I guess kind of cutting in,
Yes.
because I want to make sure we cover, because you guys are clearly incredibly experienced. Do we have any projects that we can kind of see some of your upcoming work in coming up?
Upcoming work.
Like,
Orange Justice is coming out in later this year, so be on the lookout for that one. Dogs should be out in 2026. What was the one before? The Wrecker should be coming out either this year or next.
I mean, Seraphim.
Seraphim's already out, so yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fun one. That has a lot of fight sequence in there.
nice. What is Seraphim?
Seraphim was a fan film for it's set in the John Wick universe, but it has none of the characters. It's just set in the universe.
Oh, sick.
And that was done in Colorado Springs with like a zero budget.
Ooh.
So it was tricky, it was hard, but we made it work. So there's that one. There's like 2 upcoming projects we're doing. One is being filmed this weekend, and that one's for Line in the Sand with Dan,
Oh, sure. Yes.
where we're doing an entire house raid scene.
Ooh.
And then there's another one I'm trying to do, which is called Desperante Desperado. It's a short for 10 minutes. It's basically, so we're trying to figure out all the details and try to get the funding for that one.
Nice. Nice.
And of course, our socials are Facebooks and Instagrams and everything like that.
Beat me to it.
You know. Yeah. Thank
Beat me to it. You
I was gonna say,
saw it on the tip of my tongue.
you. You find this up on Facebook at
And
Rising
then-
Star.
Oh,
Or
then
Instagram.
we got your guys' fight sequence that we have to film this weekend.
I am so excited. We
That's
got a
gonna be
camera guy like coming in for Line in the Sand and this one, and
Nice.
yeah, I love working with.
What do
him.
we clock the punch count on this one? This is like
A
what?
lot.
There's a lot of
This
punches.
is almost like what, 45, 15 moves?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's in your
50.
notebook.
Yeah. This is like almost 45, 50 set move set of just straight fighting back and forth.
Insane.
Yep.
Feels like we can't wait.
So we're running out of time here. Before we go, I did want to ask, do you guys have any like one sentence tips for people that kind of want to get into stunts?
I do actually.
That's your sentence. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I wasted it. Be teachable. Be coachable. That's it. That's it.
Be humble. Someone's going to know more than you, and it's okay. Just listen. And also use some common sense, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't have an ego. That's really the big one. Don't have an ego.
Abandon it behind you.
Yeah.
Because just to elaborate on this whole train of thought is a lot of people get into this wanting to like do the big stuff and everything. The job is making the main actor look good, making the main cast look good. So you really have to give to your scene partner. It's if you're taking if you're trying to find the camera all the time because you want your face in it. Yeah, you're not going to get far with that mentality. Basically.
Or if you keep only waiting for the big job.
That's another thing too. Like,
just take the small one,
I don't-
enjoy
I
it.
don't wanna-
Yeah.
exactly. So.
I mean, his first one was getting kneed by John Jones.
Yeah.
John
Bones Jones. Get my neck snapped and my spine corrected.
Yeah, his chiropractor. Yeah.
What was your first one, Tony? What was the first thing I threw you on?
Oh, the one in Texas.
Texas.
What was I? I was like an Irish
the
like,
Irish mobster, yeah.
Ooh, very cool, very cool.
Because I had the hat for it.
I was gonna say, like it's cosplaying as yourself. Guys, thank you so much for being here, for taking the time, for laughing. And
No,
keeping
thank you
your
for
shirt
having
on.
us.
It flies by so fast. There's like so much more I want to talk about.
I know.
We
And I know
gotta.
the whole time I was like, say more. Like this is so cool.
So we can come back next time, and next time we'll make sure he can do the striptease for you.
Yeah, we'll make sure we
Thank
have like
you.
a
No, for
separate
the
segment.
viewers. Yeah.
For the viewers.
For the
I
For the
for
viewers.
you guys.
For all of y'all. And check out that movie too. That's the way
Definitely.
you'll be able to see it.
I was like, where are you going with this? Okay.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed all the energy of this fantastic episode. Thank you again to our guests for being here, for my amazing co-host. Thank you guys for tuning in, for sharing, for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I have to say it. Continue to share it with your friends and your family. Again, shout out to friends and family for doing all of the above. Thank you to Studio 519 for this fantastic space. And we get to do what we do. Cool.
Thank you to Simone as well, because she didn't let us go without saying thank you. And thank you guys.
course.
Please have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Thank you so
Right.
much.